I create my own value. No one else can tell me what I'm worth. Only I know how much I'm worth at any given time. I understand that at different times in my life, different moments in my life, I will have higher value and lower value because I create my own value. I maintain my own value. I carry the weight of my own value. No one else can do that for me. No one else can do that for you because you create your own value and you maintain your own value and you carry the weight of your own value for yourself and yourself alone. And when we are high on value, when we're full, maxed out on value, that is when we have something to trade. That is when we are prepared to engage with other humans who are also of high value. If you are someone of low value, then that means you don't have much to trade. And that means that if you are trying to engage with someone of high value, well, that means that you right off the bat already know that your plan is to take. Your plan is to extract value from the other person without returning any value to them. It means that you are aware that you will take value away from the other person without returning any value, without reciprocating. And that's an unhealthy relationship. That is an unhealthy dynamic because it's not based on mutuality. That's based on deception. Very few people are going to agree to these terms if you tell them right off the bat, I plan on taking from you, take, but I'm not planning on giving anything in return. How about dim apples? Well, most people are going to say, what? So you want my time, my emotional energy, my resources, but you're not going to be reciprocating ever. Kind of a bad deal, eh? What is value? Value is what we have to offer. When we are high on value, it means that we have something to trade. It means that we have knowledge, we have resources, we have time, we have energy to exchange, to offer. For example, I am really great at making birthday cakes and pies and desserts. Therefore, if I meet a friend who's really great at sewing, then it would be reasonable for me to say, hey, how about you sew a new top for me and I'll make some pies for you. Well, that's value for value. This is a mutual relationship. It's a relationship about people of high value engaging. That is a healthy relationship. An unhealthy relationship is when the person who's really great at sewing is sewing tops for everybody, but no one is ever reciprocating. No one's ever giving her anything. Well, that's just being taken advantage of. And that's what I mean about value for value. The reason that I'm talking about personal value is because as targets, a lot of us are beaten down to a zero, and we are convinced that we don't hold any value. We are brainwashed into thinking that we don't provide value, that we are unable to create value. And what happens with a lot of targets of abuse is that they go out into the world and they don't think that they have any worth. They don't think that they have anything that anyone would actually want. And so they think that they have to lie and cheat to get what they want. Because if they were honest and told the other person up front, I have low self-esteem. I don't actually think that I have any value. So I'm just planning on taking your value, and I really am not going to have anything to give back. Well, of course that's not true. This is the brainwashing that targets live with. And there are millions of targets who have lots of value. They're kind, they're generous, they're good at cooking, they're good at repairing cars, they're good at gardening, they're good at lots of stuff. They have value. They just don't believe it. It's brainwashing. And so even though they have value and other people of high value see that, well, in their minds they don't. And so that's why you meet a lot of people who are beautiful and talented, who you later find out are very depressed. They are in therapy. They have a lot of emotional turmoil, and you can't figure out why. And you think, oh my gosh, he's so handsome, he's so smart, he's so talented. What is he depressed about? Well, a lot of times it's because of abusive environments, growing up or an abusive long-term relationship, and the person has been beaten down and brainwashed. And that's why they are brainwashed into thinking that they have no value, even though everyone else sees a lot of value there. If you are a former target of abuse, or you are currently involved with an abusive family member or partner or caregiver, and you, even now in this moment, are thinking, I don't have any value. Well, I just want to say to you, you're wrong. You do have value. And here's the secret. Every human on earth has potential. Every human on earth is capable of creating value and providing value. Even someone without arms and legs can provide value. Listening, simply listening to another person, validating another person's feelings. That is providing value. Giving someone a lift, helping someone across the street, watching someone's dog when they go out of town, that is providing value. We all can create value. We can all create something inside of ourselves to trade. Do you consider yourself a person of high value? Because if you don't, then how can you expect to go out into the world and be friends with people of high value, to work with people of high value, to find a life partner who is of high value? Before you go out into the world and expect to find friends and a life partner who is of high value, well, make sure that you are able to match that. Find your value, because only you are capable of doing that. You create your own value. And when you're low on value, that means you don't have anything to trade, and that means you will be taking. And in my opinion, that is not a healthy way to live. And that is how self-esteem is destroyed. A lot of manipulators want you in that position. They want to strip you of the belief that you have value. They want to gaslight you and trick you into thinking that it's impossible for you to create value for yourself. And once they convince you of that, that's when you give up. And that's when they've got you. And that's when you're dependent on others. If you don't think that you have any value right now, one way to sort that out is to figure out what you're interested in, to figure out what your interests are, and to pursue those interests, and develop skills, take in knowledge, because Knowledge is something you can trade. When you know about something, then that means that you have something to offer.
You are worth more than what you produce for others, because your worth is what you can create for yourself alone. You are a person of value when you carry, create, and maintain your own self-worth. When you are full of value, you then have something to trade. A person void of value is bankrupt and will look to others to give endlessly without any or much chance of a return. When an emotional parasite void of value starts defining your worth by telling lies to you about you, remind yourself that you are already better than anyone who cannot exist without emotionally parasitizing others.
As always, stay strong and get toxic people out of your life.